My name's Brooke, and I came to Envita to be treated for Lyme disease. Well, I've been sick for as long as I can remember, since I was a toddler or younger. I had a lot of pain. A big one is my food has always been limited. For the past 2.5 years, I've only been able to eat 5 foods. And even before that, since I was in middle school, I've always been really limited on what I could eat. But the last 2.5 years have been just those 5 foods. When I was in high school, I had panic attacks all the time. I had to be taken out of school. Just a lot of random, weird symptoms that, look like a bunch of other things. So my whole life has been, going to hundreds of doctors and everyone trying to figure out what was going on. I've had every test that they could think of ran twice, and they could never come up with anything. When I was 19 is when I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. I did 3 or 4 Lyme treatments, and none of them worked. My mom brought up Envita to me about a year ago, and I said, I'm not going to Arizona, and I don't want to talk about it ever again. And then last September, I went to the hospital, and literally from that day, I was getting way worse. And so she brought up to Envita again early this year, and I pretty much just knew that I was not headed down a good path. I knew that I didn't have any other options, so going to Arizona didn't look too bad anymore. So then I came. The first thing that I noticed when I met my doctor is that in the first appointment, they plug in a speaker, and they just sit and ask you questions and talk to you so that they're not distracted in, typing in your chart and, putting the pieces together. They're just sitting and they're listening to you, and they do all that later. And that really stuck out to me because, a lot of doctors, they just type in what you say and they don't ever reference it again. But they, and the first 15 minutes of that appointment just sat there and listened to everything I had to say. I felt like, they knew what was going on, and they didn't make any promises, but they were like, they wanted to get me better. So my first time in the clinic was to do the big blood draw, but my veins were a struggle because my veins are tired of being poked. And I almost passed out, and all of the nurses and doctors filled that room and that hallway. I've never felt so safe in such a scary event. I knew that I was going to be taken care of, and I knew that this was the place. I thought that IRAD was really cool. And the nurses make it so fun. Dropping your blood sugar has never been so fun. Coming here and getting to meet people who were in a similar situation as me was really cool. Getting to swap war stories and, and encouraging each other. I've gotten to meet so many people. It was really cool. My nurse was Catherine.
Okay.
And I love Catherine. We're about the same age, so it was like going to hang out with a friend every day, which can make treatment, you are sick, and so you're having to deal with the symptoms and the detoxing and all this stuff, but I looked forward to coming to treatment because it was like I was getting to come hang out with friends. It was always a good time. I don't think there was one day that I didn't go to Envita and some of us weren't crying because we were laughing so hard. In the past 3 weeks, I've more than tripled the amount of food I can eat now, which is crazy. I did not think that would happen, even while I was here. And so that's been crazy to be able to eat foods I haven't eaten in 5+ years. I've been to a bunch of doctors, and I've gotten my hopes up a lot that something would work, and it didn't. And this can seem like, when you hear about it, you're just hearing about another thing. And it's not just another thing. To me, it is the thing. It is the place to be. Because they get results, and not only that, but you become family with these people, and it's a fun environment to be in.